I don't know how long this is going to take to explain. So let me just kind of start with the lead and we'll work backwards so that you kind of know what we're working up towards. But the TLDR is that I mentioned on a post on my YouTube channel that I had used ChatGPT and my Fitbit data to kind of like untangle my chronic fatigue. Now it's not like CFS, like chronic fatigue syndrome, like was it myelite? I don't know, but it's not like the formally diagnosed thing. It's more just like I'm always tired, and a lot of people are always tired. And so the ultimate result was that I used my Fitbit data and ChatGPT's new features for data analysis, and I generated some charts. And so this was the week leading up to a really good day that I had. And you'll probably notice a very obvious pattern here, which is like, okay, all these numbers are very high. And okay, so then I had a good day. And like for a little bit of background, if you have like burnout or chronic fatigue or whatever, and this is all interrelated because like I've mentioned that I'm ADHD, and so people that are ADHD, we tend to hyper focus, and we also like it's just like go 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 all the time, and so I discount the amount of actual output that I've had, whether it's physical output or mental output. And so then I also had a really spectacularly bad day a week later, and this data it's obviously like a little bit more chaotic. Now, if you just take a glance at these, it's not very obvious what's going on. And so now let me work backwards and tell you like how we got to this. And I'll also go ahead and tell you the key insight was just that high readiness score for me and high step count and high sleep. Like those three things consistently result in really good days. Whereas if you look over here, the readiness score didn't get really above 50 or 60. And if you're not familiar with readiness score, it's basically like a composite metric that Fitbit will give you. Most health wearables like will generate that for you. It's often a premium feature, but basically it looks at like your sleep over the last few days, your exercise over the last few days, and your heart rate variability over the last few days. And so I had over-indexed on heart rate variability, and heart rate variability alone was not a good predictor of how much energy I would have. So I basically I just said, okay, I had a really good day on the 27th, or really bad day on the 27th, and a really good day on the 20th. So let's look at the diff between those two. So without further ado, let's go back and I'll show you how I actually went through all of my data and how I got to these conclusions. And now hopefully I'm going to be taking better care of myself and have more consistent energy levels. Okay, so here's where it started. I was testing out ChatGPT's new memory functions, and I was just like, oh, hey, like, you could actually probably be a good, like, health journal companion, because if I just wake up and I tell you, like, oh, hey, I just did this and it worked, like, you can record that number, or, that whatever. So then I was like, let me just copy-paste some of my sleep data. So I went to my Fitbit dashboard, and I just copy-pasted the text of, like, here's my recent sleep data. And I said, can you clean this up? And then it didn't, let's see, it said it reformatted the data, but it's not showing it. Oh, maybe it was here. There we go. Okay. So here we go. So it cleaned up the sleep data, which was cool, and did that fully automatically. But what it did incorrectly was it looked like everything after. So it's like my best day was the 20th, and then 24th, 25th, 26th. I'm like, okay, that was pretty dumb. Like if I tell you that I'm trying to predict when I had a good day, why are you looking at the data that came after the good day? So I told it first, I was like, you'll need to look at the days leading up to the 20th after. So it's like, okay, cool. So this is a little bit better. And so it's starting to do an analysis of like how much sleep that I got. And so then it asked some questions, and I was like, all right, you can knock off the questions. I said, you can stop with the questions. We're just working on the data. So then rather than like copy pasting text, because Fitbit makes it a little bit hard to get like the raw numbers. And also the dashboards all look different depending on what data you're looking at. So like I was like, let me just grab this data. So I was like, let me see if there's any correlation for my step count. And so then I just literally just like did the Windows Shift S. And so that gives you like the ability to do screenshots. So I just did a screen grab, and I said, all right, let's get this data. And so it tracked all the data. And so now it's like, okay, step counts and sleep data for the same things. And then it said, oh, let's chart this. I didn't even ask it to visualize it. I'm just like, whoa, cool. So this just popped up, and I'm like, all right, the wheels are now turning. So it's like we see that, sleep duration, I got up to like 8.5 hours and blah, 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 blah. So this is all leading up to the 27th, which was not a good day. Do I have that backwards? I might have that backwards. Wait, no, this is a full month. So yes, because the 20th right here was a good day. And then the 27th afterwards is when I started having bad days. So it's like, okay, cool. I was exercising a lot. I was getting up to 16,000 steps a day and consistently more than 7.5 hours of sleep, generally more than 8 hours of sleep. And like, you might say like, okay, Dave, it's pretty obvious most people do well, but this is the thing about ADHD brains is like, we can't keep track of time in a linear fashion. It's just like, what was yesterday? I don't know what yesterday was. Today is right now. But that's why you have a wearable that just records the data for you. So then the wheels really started turning here, and I'm like, okay, this is really useful, and I can already see a trend. So I was like, let me just throw more data at it. So then I started getting screen grabs from my phone. I said, here's my readiness scores, and then I was like, oh, look at that. That's a nice, beautiful correlation. I went from getting awful sleep, because this is when I was coming back from Austin. So traveling is difficult for me. Neurospicy people, lots of people that are either HSPs or autism or ADHD. Traveling can be really difficult for us because it's overwhelming and exhausting. So, but then it's like I get back, I recover. I was getting good sleep. I had a good readiness score, and I was getting exercise. And then I had a really great day. So it's like, wow, that's a pretty obvious pattern right there. And honestly, I could have stopped here because it's like these are kind of the three biggest predictors, which is sleep, step count, and readiness score. But then I wanted to keep going because I'm like, what else figures into this? And I was trying to tease apart like what is a positive predictor and what is a negative predictor. That's kind of ultimately what I got to was, okay, if we can predict a good day, if I know what variables, what actual data points that like predict a good day, can we also predict a bad day? And so then I gave it my what is this? This is the full month of the readiness score, or no, sorry, stress management. And so you see, like from this perspective, it's just like, okay, you're generally between this and this. I don't really see much of a pattern here. You can see my stress management going down because of the travel stress, and then it started going back up, and then it started going back down again. So that's actually the trend. And so it plots all this out, it adds it to the graph, and I'm like, oh wow. Look at this, my stress management score. It also went up. So my stress management score, you can see this purple line is very highly correlated with the red line. So basically, the more steps that I do, the better my stress management. Which, if you know that, like that's actually how Fitbit calculates your stress management. It looks at things like I think your total sleep, your total exercise, and your heart rate variability, as well as a few other things. And so, yes, like they're calculated together, so it makes sense that they're closely correlated. But I was like, okay, that makes sense. Exercise is closely correlated with stress management. We understand that. But then you see here they diverge. So that's like, okay, something happened here. And so this is when I hit the point of exhaustion because my readiness score dropped off a cliff. And even though I kept exercising, so when those two numbers detach, I know that I'm going to be like heading for a bad day. Because now I'm exercising too much because my readiness score is going down, my exercise is still going up, and my stress management is also going down. And it didn't go down that much. Like you see, it was between 73 and 80. So it's not like a super precipitous drop. But one thing that my wife and I noticed is that like the difference between like 70 and 80 or like 80 and 85 is actually really, really big, at least for us. So it's like, okay, well, that's really interesting because you have some of these numbers that are highly correlated and then they diverge. And so then after that, because again, May 20th was a really good day for me. So then like in the days right after that, I was like in worse shape because I had like tapped out all of those energy reserves that I had built up for the previous 5 days. Because again, keeping track of things over a week length of time doesn't really happen for us ADHD brains. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I had basically built up a reserve for 5 days after coming back from Austin, and then I burned through it all. in a few days. So it's like, okay, reserves are empty. And it's like, if this is something that I have to keep track of over the period of like 5 or 6 days, that's just too much. So I need to rely on the data to do it. So then I was like, let's keep going. Like, let's go deeper. Then I wondered, maybe the amount of cardio output matters because then you see, again, here's my cardio data. So I go to Austin, I'm not really doing my regular exercise, and then I get back, and the amount of cardio that I'm getting up is just, or the amount of cardio that I'm getting each day is going up progressively. And I'm like, oh, Well, that looks like a very clear trend right here. So it's like I had a good day right here after doing relatively little cardio for a couple weeks, and then I had a really bad day here after a week of doing a lot of cardio. See, my average was 45 when I had a bad week, so I was getting an average of 45 minutes of cardio a day, whereas the week before I was getting 34, and before that it was even less. I think it was like in the 20s or whatever, maybe even less than that. So it's like, oh, well, maybe if I'm overexerting myself, because an average of 45 minutes of cardio every day, and I'm not an athlete, right? I'm not doing like sports medicine and stuff. So I was like, well, that's pretty obvious that that could be having an impact. So then we added that. So the cardio minutes. So you see cardio minutes also very highly correlated with step count as well as stress management until here at the end when again it crashed, when they detached. So it's like, okay, there's clearly, I hit a wall and I was overtraining. So I went from a period of like good fitness to too much fitness. And that's when I started realizing, oh, the readiness score is a really good predictor, because when the readiness score started going down, because you see here, like the floor seems like it's about 70, that's the green line, and then it collapsed down to the 40s and 30s. If I had stopped then and started resting, realizing, hey, I'm about out of spoons, then I probably could have maintained my energy, realizing, okay, like that 70 floor is seems like kind of a predictor for me. So moving on, I gave it my heart rate variability, and one thing that was very interesting is that actually, and I'll show you once we calculate it in the future, but my heart rate variability is like between between 40 and 60, which like some people say it's supposed to be higher, but for some people it's much lower. So it's like, okay, that's neither good nor bad. But what was interesting later is that the average, and I'll show you when it calculates it when we get down, it's quite a ways away, but I had over-indexed on heart rate variability as the primary metric that I was paying attention to. Because on a bad week, my heart rate variability averaged 57, but on a good week, it averaged 49. So it's like, okay, that number alone could not predict how I was going to subjectively feel, because this is a quintessential multivariate problem where you can see there's a lot of correlations, and then there's a lot of inverse correlations, and then there's also events where these correlations completely diverge. And so this is all the conversation that I'm having with ChatGPT along the ways. Let's see. So then we add it. I was just like, all right, let me just give it all the data at once for the bad day. So I just gave it a whole bunch of screenshots. And then it said, okay, there's a little bit of data missing, and here's a new chart. So once we got it, all the data, I was like, okay, so this is the period leading up to the bad day. So the good day was over here on the left end of the graph. So May 20th, I had a good day. And then, as I mentioned, I realized, wait, my readiness score collapsed. So it got above 70 one day. But the rest of the week, it was below 60, below 50, down in the 30s and 40s, sometimes in the teens. So it's like, okay, clearly I'm running on fumes here. So I was running on fumes for about a week. And then I was, like, you can see me trying to, like, I had one good day where I got some energy back, and then I promptly spent it all again. And so then, like, cardio minutes getting up to almost 80 when I had a really, really bad day. So it's like, okay, this is quintessential overtraining is what's happening. And it's happening because I was not keeping track of my readiness score. So it turns out readiness score is actually a really great way of keeping track of how much you're how ready I am to expend energy. Because you see here, my stress score is between 70 and 86. So again, not that much different from where it was. And my heart rate variability is actually higher than it was the week before. But what's different? The biggest difference is that my readiness score is much lower and my cardio minutes are much higher. So I learned that I am I already knew this. I'm what's called a cardio low responder, which means that, like, even with cardio training, my cardiovascular capacity does not go up that much. So that's a phenomenon that was actually discovered by the U.S. Air Force back in the 50s or 60s, because they had, like, recruits who were in otherwise really great shape, but after 6 months of basic training, they their mile times did not get much better. Whereas some people, you start them at the beginning of basic training and they can't even do like a 16-minute mile, but then within a few months or a few weeks, they're doing 6-minute miles. And so I am a cardio low responder. My genetic profile is geared more towards physical strength rather than endurance. So I'm pushing myself way too hard on the cardio. So that's what this data proves to me, is like, okay, I keep trying to do more cardio, my readiness score goes through the floor, and then I feel awful. And so then I gave it those two graphics side by side. I was like, here's a good day. And just visually, you can see all the numbers just cluster up here at the top. And then here's a bad day, and it's just like it's chaotic, but they're also clustered closer to the bottom. So it's like, oh, okay. So let's take a look at like what are the key things to look at here. And I asked it to remember all of this. And so the rules that I came up with is if I have a readiness score of greater than 70 for 3 days and a sleep duration of more than 7.5 hours, I tend to have lots of energy, which of course it's like, well, duh. Like there's nothing magical about that. But it's a matter of here's the data to show it. And before I did this exercise, I had no idea like how to really interpret my readiness score, because like some days it'll be high, some days it'll be low, and I'm like, okay, I don't really know what to do with this information, and I don't really know what it means, and how to interpret it. And also, I didn't know how much sleep I actually needed, because I often felt tired. I was like, I always just need more sleep. I need more sleep. I need more sleep. But then by looking at the data, I said, you know what? On a really good, when I had a really good week, yes, I got up to, a little bit over 8 hours of sleep, but really the threshold was as long as it was more than 7.5, it seems like I'm doing fine. So I updated my sleep target to 7.5 hours rather than 8, because that's objectively speaking, that's what I need. And when you look at how on a bad week, let's see, where's my sleep score? So sleep duration up here. So we're looking at dark blue. So it only got above 8 hours once, but most of the week it was like substantially less than 7.5. Here we're at 7.8, 7.2, down to 6. So most of the week it was less than 7.5, and that's when I realized, okay, that's kind of the floor. So anything above 7.5, I'm good. Anything below 7.5 for more, than a few days each week, that's bad. Yes, so that's the primary approach that I use, where I was literally just giving it screenshots, asking it to extract the data, and then here's where we did the averages for my heart rate variability. So on the results on the good week, my median heart rate variability was 49, average was 49.86. On the bad week, it was 57, and so I was like, oh, well, this is really weird. Because even though I was actively monitoring my heart rate variability and trying to optimize for that, it was higher on the week that I had a really bad week, and it was lower on when I had a really good week. So it's like, okay, clearly I'm paying attention to the wrong statistics. So I think that's the primary thing. And so then it's just like, oh, well, let me make sure that I'm not getting too much cardio, because that's clearly like a deal killer for me. But so I need low cardio, high steps, high sleep, and high readiness score. And as long as I pay attention to those thresholds, I should be fine from here on out. I hope this helped you figure out how to use some of these tools to interpret your data. And again, I didn't know that it could do the charts. I think that feature was just released. So I might go try this on I might go try this on Gemini, because I just upgraded to Gemini, because I saw that the latest version of Gemini is climbing the leaderboard, and it also has data analysis modes. I just fed Gemini the manuscript for my novel, and it was able to identify, read, over 100,000 words in just a few seconds, which is far faster than Claude. And it was able to identify some really interesting little details. I'm not going to show that just yet, because I'm starting to ramble. Anyways, so I think I just need to say, none of this is medical advice. This is just what this tool was able to do and help me make sense of this data and organize it and clean it up and present it in a very quick fashion. But yeah, with any luck, I will have more energy. And I know that some of you are like, Dave, you're already doing too much. We don't want to see you at full power. But you know what? I want to be at full power, or at least I want to feel like I'm at full power, because on those good days, it feels really good to be me, and on those bad days, I feel like I'm dying. So yeah, ADHD can be kind of a pain in the neck, but with the help of Fitbit, actual data, actual numbers, and then a tool to help me interpret it. So here's the other thing. Actually, Google, if you're listening, you should connect Fitbit to Gemini, because guess what? Guess who owns Fitbit? It's Google. So you should connect Gemini to this data, because it can read all of this data and just hey, tell me when do I have a good day and when do I have a bad day? What are the correlations? So anyways, you're welcome for that product idea. Have a good one. Bye.